Hi, this is Beth McCarthy Smith. I'm the CEO and founder of Simplicity Cold Pressed Juice and Cocktails, and you are listening to the Drink Culture Podcast. We have to be kind to ourselves and love ourselves. And the big part of it is forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves. We beat ourselves up so much about such small things, medium things, big things. And you know what? At the end of the day, everyone probably a pretty good person.
Hey guys, it's Fabian, and you are listening to another episode of the Drink Culture Podcast, a show about the business owners, thought leaders, and creators who have helped make Indianapolis what it is today. We want you to drink deep of the culture that surrounds you, so listen in. This episode of the Drink Culture Podcast is made possible by support from our sponsors. We are supported by Full Stack. If you're trying to grow your business, you know HR is a challenge. Why make it harder by doing it all yourself? Instead of filling out employee paperwork, filing compliance forms, and worrying about following all those rules and regulations, let Full Stack PEO do it for you so you can put your time and effort into building your company. Find out more at fullstackpeo.com/DRNKCLTR. I'm super excited. We're here with Beth McCarthy Smith, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. From Simplicity Cold Pressed Juice and Cocktails.
Yes.
You're someone that has been recommended several times to be on our show, so I'm glad that this is finally coming together. I'm glad that we're finally paying attention to what people are telling us to do and making this show all about them. But before we get started, people may or may not know, I always have to go to the bathroom. And so I was in your bathroom.
So do I.
I was in your bathroom and I saw the most hilarious sign, and it said, gosh, what did it say? I should have taken a picture. So it said something like, imagine what your teeth would look like if you, or imagine what your smile would look like if you didn't brush your teeth every day. Now imagine your colon. Good and bad health start with your colon. I think we're going to get there.
Yeah. We'll get there fast.
But I just wanted to call out that was an awesome poster. And then the quote was Beth. So you obviously said that.
Well, and so that's how Simplicity Cold Pressed Juice actually got started. I was talking about my fertility issues back in the day. And I did 6 IUIs, 9 IVFs, had surgeries, had 2 additional IVFs with a surrogate, plugged myself up with $10,000 worth of drugs every cycle, and had 4 miscarriages, and nothing was happening. And so...
Hold on.
Yeah.
We just jumped right.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Sorry. Yeah.
So is that like the traditional?
I think we should go even further back.
Yeah, let's go further back.
I did a bad job introducing you, so introduce yourself to all of our listeners. Give the name of the business one more time, just so that they know who they're hearing from, and then we'll just jump into like even before that.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I'm an open book.
Yeah. Right. We'll go there.
Okay. So this is Simplicity Holistic Health, and
we're in Broad Ripple. Right?
We are. And you know what? I should say again. I'm sorry. I said the wrong name of the company. Simplicity. Sorry. Simplicity Cold Pressed Juice and Cocktails. And so you can find us on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, Simplicity Juice. And so that's our tag.
Okay.
So has that name changed recently?
Well,
or has it evolved?
It has evolved. Okay. Thank you. So we started out as Simplicity Holistic Health, which is still on our bottles. Mm-hmm. But then when we would sponsor something, they'd have the logo Simplicity Holistic Health. And you'd think, what is that? And so then we changed, doing business as Simplicity Cold Pressed Juice. And then people know exactly what it is.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. And how did it all start?
So is it all right to go into the fertility?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and we need specifics like dates, right? Like what was going on at the time?
All right. So, let's see. 13 years ago.
Okay.
16 years ago, I had a baby. So I was so excited, and she was amazing. She is amazing. And of course I wanted another one right away. So we got pregnant and had a miscarriage. And And then we were just supposed to wait and try again. So we did. Nothing was happening for a really long time. And, they said I was so old at that time.
Rude.
Rude. And so I went to a fertility clinic, which is at Northwestern. And they told me immediately, oh, honey, your days are over. You better look for an egg donor, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. No. I meant to have children. And so I did $10,000 worth of drugs a cycle. I did 6 IUIs, did 9 IVFs, 2 additional with a surrogate. We had 4 miscarriages, and I was still determined. Gosh. And I was not a lot of fun at a cocktail party, but I would do anything to have children. I went to tarot cards, palm readers, psychics.
Why were you so obsessed with having more children?
I knew in my heart the message I received as a child was I would have special children. Didn't say child, it was children. And I also remember my husband's best friend, he's an only child, and he was giving the eulogy at his father's funeral, and he's the only one left. And I wanted my daughter to be with other people, have her own peeps. And so I knew it was supposed to be children. And so then we did the drugs, the surrogates, the whole 9 yards. And what happened was we lived in Chicago at the time. So I just had finished working at Parade Magazine. So I was always in sales, and I loved it. And this 8th generation acupuncturist was taking out my blood. We were doing some bloodletting. I didn't know what that was at the time, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. So she's taking out my blood, and she said, your blood too thick. That's why you not have baby. And I was like, oh my God, because my very first fertility appointment at Northwestern, there was an ad in a free magazine and it had 2 pictures of blood. One was dirty and ugly, and one was pretty and pink and white. And I know nothing about blood, but I thought, what do I have to do to get the pretty blood? And so I went to that doctor the next day, and I was furious. I was pissed. I mean, I had burning tears running down my face. And he just said, we had to clean out my colon and do this program with juices. And I was like, I don't care, whatever, sign me up. But I really thought, oh God, I was always in sales, and I was always told I was full of shit. And sure enough, I was so full of shit, I couldn't even believe it. And so you have to do 15 appointments within 30 days. So it's just not once and you're cleaned out.
And what is an appointment?
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Let's get back.
Give me that dirty details. Yeah.
Let's get back to the bathroom. They shove a tube up your ass, and they put water up your colon. And then you poop.
How big is the tube?
Okay, well, it's like a nickel size.
Oh my God. And did they put you out for this?
No. But a nickel size, you've had poops that have come out that have been way bigger than that.
True.
Yeah. So, yeah.
True.
So we've all pooped, and we've had big poops and small poops or whatever. I've always been a little constipated. And so she started cleaning out my colon, and I started drinking juices, and all of a sudden I just started feeling better. And, everyone has always been right. I was totally and absolutely full of shit. And so my brown eyes are now blue. But it was absolutely amazing. And so we can physically change very quickly. And what happens when we physically change is our heart and our head come along with that. So all of a sudden I was just receiving these messages of just love and kindness and generosity, and, it just really lifted my spirit. And I just decided I'm not going to try to have any more kids. I just became extremely grateful for the child I had, for the husband I had. And I was just absolutely in this great gratitude state. And
how long was that time between your first child and when you said, okay, I feel good now. I'm like, okay, I'm at peace with this. Like, this isn't supposed to happen.
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
And in that 5 years, how much money did you spend? Like, what was that whole time like?
At least $200,000. At least. because we had surrogates, then you have lawyers, then you have transportation for them, then you have all the IVF treatments, you've got the drugs, you've got the acupuncture that I wanted to do, and then the acupuncturist is like, no, you need to do it 2 times a week. So, you have to pay in cash and go with a tip and park in Chicago. And then she thought, you know what, we need to go 3 times a week. And, you start taken advantage of. And I remember there was this other fertility ad, like, do this kind of acupuncture and you won't miscarriage. And I called them up. I'm like, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
Because I felt, your fears get played upon and that it really hurt. And so in Chicago, I was drinking these $15 8-ounce juices that honestly I wanted to throw up from. I was like, oh, it was awful. But I would do it because it was for my health. But we went back to Indianapolis, where my family lives now, that Thanksgiving, after I just was on this program, feeling amazing. And I hadn't drank in such a long time. And my sister and mom both had these really big glasses of white wine. And so I didn't want a glass of wine. All the sippiers. Well, pretty soon, 6-7 weeks later, I just thought, I am detoxing so much. I haven't gotten my period in forever. Oh my gosh. And then I was like, because I was going to go for another colon hydrotherapy. And I thought, you know what? I've got one more pregnancy test. Why not? So I peed on it, left it there, and, went about my day. And I didn't have that pressure. Whereas before, I was like laser focused. Mm-hmm. I mean, the eye of Mordor was on that little pea stick. And so I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. So there's a time difference between Indianapolis and Chicago. So I called my mom at 4:15 in the morning. Mama! And I woke my husband up, John! And so I ran over, I got in the car, went over to the fertility clinic, and I'm going to the nurses, what does this mean about my pea stick? And they're like, oh my God. And there are no, when you get a positive, that is correct. You can have false negatives, but you can't have a false positive.
Pay attention, people.
Yep.
You cannot have a false
attention.
Positive.
So I got in the car, and my husband worked for a radio station. You guys might know it, WXRT in Chicago. It's a rock and roll station. And one of their DJs is Terry Hemmert, and she's one of the nationally renowned, knows about the Beatles. And so I thought, I've heard every Beatles song that ever was. And so I got in my car, and she played the song Blackbird. I thought I'd never heard the song, but it said, take these broken wings and learn to fly. You have always waited for this moment to arise.
I just got chills. Oh, man.
And I knew at that moment, because people then start talking about miscarriages, because I'd had 4 and all this kind of stuff. And I knew in my heart and in my head, things were going to be great. Things were just going to be great. And so at 39, I had a baby boy, and he's just delightful. His name's Mac. His name is McCarthy, so he's Mac. And I kept the lifestyle up because I felt so good. So now I became a raw food chef, and now I became a colon hydrotherapist. So if you boys want to, I do have some tubes here.
I don't think, is that OSHA approved?
I mean,
it is FDA approved.
FDA. Okay. Wait. So, kind of when you're going through this 5-year period and this finally happens for you, did you and John argue? Like, were you guys arguing over the amount of Sean? Oh, sorry.
Sean. Yeah,
I
Sean.
thought you said John. Sorry.
Nope, that's okay.
Were you guys arguing over money about like how much was spending, or were you both on the same page of like, we are on this mission to have children?
I felt terrible the amount of money I was spending, and he had no idea.
He had no idea. So,
I mean, he knew it was a great dollar source, but he really didn't, get into the nitty gritty of it. Mm-hmm. And I told him one time, I just feel sick about it. I feel sick about the money that we're spending. I mean, we're spending a college education for the child we do have. And he said, all this money that we had saved. And he said, I can't think of anything more romantic to spend our money on than trying to have a baby. And I mean, he's amazing, and he never asked and doesn't care.
Wow.
I know, he's lovely, and he works hard every day. So yeah, I'm very lucky, and that's my husband.
And was the process that you're going through at this time, was that a lot of just your own research online, or how did you go through the different therapies and the different doctors? And I'm assuming you didn't just go to one doctor and stay with that doctor the whole entire time. You probably kind of...
Right. I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. I am pedal to the metal. And so I did feel in my heart I was to have children. And so whatever that took, whether it was going to the ends of the earth, I was going to find that way. And so, researching the internet, even though it was 15 years ago, it wasn't as big as it was now. And so it was all telephone calls, and it was all experiments, and it was all what I felt good about. But there's no doubt I was trying to take a shortcut. I definitely, through that experience, I am like most American people. I would rather take that shortcut, and I'd rather write that check. I'd rather have the surgery than change my diet and lifestyle. And I'm a big, I love a Whopper Jr. I used to live on Diet Cokes. My favorite food is pizza. And those are still the case. I don't live on Diet Coke, so. But, I just experimented around. And if there was anything I heard of, I would do it. And I was all in, bloodletting. What? Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So what is bloodletting?
Bloodletting is they are going to take the little fat behind your knee, right here. They puncture it, and they put like a cupping device on it.
Okay.
And then they start sucking your blood out. And so she sucked my blood out, and she's like, your blood's too thick. And so for me, and I'm not a doctor, I don't treat, diagnose, cure anyone or anything. For me, healing and health is all about blood and guts. Blood and guts. Like myself, I was totally and absolutely full of shit. And because of that, everything in my body was backed up. And so it's like, I don't know how many times a week you take out the garbage, but it's like if you did not take out the garbage for 6 months, what would be out there? I mean, it'd be bugs and gnats and just rotting food. And that is what is happening in our gut. But the great thing about the colon is it is a muscle. It can be cleaned, it can be toned, and it can be restored to better health. So do you want me to go on with my story? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Mac. Then I became a raw food chef and went to school and all these different modalities. And then, we, weren't trying at all. And then, it was my mother's birthday, August 8th. And my husband was cooking salmon and all this stuff. And we are going to have a great outdoor meal. And I thought, I just really want kind of a warm glass of milk. And how bizarre is that? And I thought, wait a minute. Because when I went through the fertility, that there were these tarot cards and intuitives, whatever, I had 2 intuitives that told me I had 2 babies up in heaven that were close together. So Mac is not even 7 or 8 months old. And I thought, I'm just not feeling well. And so I had 1 pregnancy test left. I took it and I brought Sean into the garage. Sean, hello. And he goes, oh, honey, look, it says, this white line or that white line. I go, read the box again, Buster. He goes, oh my gosh. And so we found out we were pregnant. And I always thought I would have a Nellie. So my granny is Nellie. And when they said Mac was a boy, I was like, oh, I expected Nellie. And so, I knew when I was pregnant that time, I said, oh my God, it's Nellie. And that's it. And that's my Nellie Bell. And so Nellie was born when I was 42 years old.
Wow.
And so I said, well, geez, we got to shut this down now. We got to shut it down. And so then we moved to Indianapolis to be closer to my family. And so then the first thing I did when I plugged in my computer is, where am I going to get my colon hydrotherapy? And so there were no closed systems in Chicago or in Indianapolis. They were just open systems. And I've done the open system. It's just not my thing.
What is that?
Yeah.
Well, boys. So this is, you kind of sit in this like tub and your legs are up, and they put in this like pencil-sized straw that just continually squirts water.
My butt just puckered up right now. Literally.
And so your poop comes out, and you know, it was for me. I tried
So
it.
you're sitting in your poop then?
No, you're sitting up. Your butt is sitting up a little bit. But for me, I did try it, and like my poop splashed, and I was like, oh, this is not for me. I like the closed system. So I went to Arizona. I got trained in the closed system, bought the closed system. We set up our own place at 8801 North Meridian. And so I thought, because colon hydrotherapy is kind of the wild, wild west.
Seems like a niche market.
Completely niche market.
I don't know. There's billions of people with colons.
No, I mean,
That's true.
good point.
But not everyone will let you shove a tube up,
Right,
up
true.
them. But I thought, we're going to open the Taj Mahal of shitters, because these places can be a little, you know, like you could be down in the basement pooping, and like there's a family upstairs with shag carpeting listening to Family Feud. And so it was in a medical building. It was all clean, all nice. All of our people were certified, and you know, it was amazing. I loved it. I love poop. I do. And but then people were getting cleaned out, and they were feeling so good, but they didn't know what to eat or drink. And so I thought, you know, I could just make a gallon of juice. And that is where the juice business started. Gotcha. So someone would rather drink a juice than have me shove a tube up their ass. Go figure.
So how long did that colon hydrotherapy office last?
It was there for a couple years.
Yeah. And
then we were making all the juice out of there. But then for me, it got a little too like poop and juice. Got to separate them. So then we rented a kitchen at 30th and Lafayette. And we did all the juicing on the weekend. And then we moved from the shared kitchen to this location at 1101 East 54th, right next to Pastry Galleria and Mass Avenue Toys. And we love it here. We used to make all the juices here, and it was crazy, insane, and awesome, and so super fun. And so in this process, though, we take our juices in a cold truck and we take it to Milwaukee, where it gets 89,000 pounds of pressure per square inch on each juice bottle. And so that gives us our shelf life. So it's called kind of technically HPP, or high pressure pascalization, not pasteurization. So some people love it. Some people hate it. You know, it is what it is.
Why is it so divisive?
It's so divisive because some juicers in a juice bar, for instance, would say, well, that's not real. It has a shelf life, and you should only drink what you can drink right now. And you know what? I get that. There is truth to that. But the perfect kind of juicing is if I picked apples from my backyard, if I picked a lemon and then came in, juiced it, and drank it right away. There is no perfect. And for me, in the Midwest market, I would much rather share the joy. And so that HPP, or it's called cold pressure protection, it protects, there are no pathogens in this juice. And so we go through the FDA. We've got all third-party paperwork for killing all the pathogens out of this and keeping the juice alive. And so that is what it's called. And so there's several juicers in town that will, you know, HPP, and they'll cross a line through it, and they'll put simplicity, and you know, hey, whatever works. There's going to be people that, you know, I will go to a juice bar and just get a juice. But what I experienced in starting the juice company was someone will buy $100 or $200 worth of juices and they put it in their refrigerator and they get to it in 2 or 3 days, and then it's lost its taste, it's lost its vitality, and they want their money back. And I'm like, whoopsie.
Yeah. And so what is the shelf life with this process?
This is 100 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the shelf life of a typical normal juice that's pressed?
Well, if it's something that does not have that cold pressure protection on it, usually about 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So typically when you see a date written on it and
marker
with a marker,
right.
That's going to be
right.
like you need to drink this in 2 or 3 days or else
right.
It's not good for you.
Right. The vitality will still start going down. And so you call it a dead juice because all the nutrients in it die. What kind of juice would you guys like? What do you want to open up here? What, you want to taste everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to ask you,
yes,
Beth. So did you learn? You were making the juice at first, right? And were you
yes.
did you learn to make it on YouTube or you were a raw food chef? So you learned it through your schooling, that you went through the process there. How did the business actually start?
The business started, and I said this to you earlier. Sorry. By the way, this is a lean elixir.
Oh my gosh, this is really good.
I was just going to say, this is the worst tasting drink we make.
Wow.
This has seaweed in it. It has chlorophyll. It has wheatgrass. It has an heirloom green kamut, which is more wheatgrass, dried alfalfa. It has avocados and bananas. It has some apple and lemon. And I always say this is breakfast every morning.
That's so good.
Oh, thank you. And so that you have an empty stomach when you wake up and you've rested your digestive system all night long. And so you drink that first thing in the morning and your digestive system doesn't have to work to digest that. And so it's like an instant health hit to your system. Because as you probably know, one of, the hardest things the body does is digest food. So, yeah.
Yeah, this one's really, really good.
Thank you.
I know. I'm pouring myself a little bit more.
Thank you. Well, don't forget, you got the rest.
How many ounces are these?
These are that's 2 ounces.
If filled to the top?
Yep. Okay. So this is a green blessing.
I'm being a weirdo.
Oh, no, you're not being.
I'll just refill it.
Hey, guys. If you didn't make it to the Ira Glass show at Clues Memorial Hall, you really missed out. This place is quickly becoming one of my favorite venues in the entire city, and the Butler Arts Center is a proud supporter of the Drink Culture podcast, and they hope that our listeners will enjoy the interesting, diverse, and entertaining events happening at Clues Memorial Hall and the other 4 venues on the campus of Butler University. Some programming highlights for March include the Wine and Crime podcast on Wednesday, March 18th at the Shelton Auditorium, Acapella Live on Saturday, March 21st at Clues Memorial Hall, and O Brothers present Othello the Remix on Wednesday, March 25th at the Schrott Center for the Arts. Learn more about these shows and other series at butlerartscenter.org. That's butlerartscenter.org.
I'll just refill this one.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, here you
go. Wait, so we were talking about how the business, how you started making these. Was it a Ninja blender or something?
Oh my gosh. So I had a Jack O'Lane that I think I got for $99 at Kohl's. And
the Kohl's. Where they pay you to shop.
Yep. And this is our green blessing. So this is apple, cucumber, celery, romaine, kale, parsley. So this is going to be your kind of like the green drink that a lot of people think about. So I liked to juice for myself from my health experience. And so I would just juice in my Jack O'Lane. I would do cucumbers, I would do celery, and I would do pineapple. And I just loved it. Ooh, and so that's where it started. And so I literally made up all the recipes. That was it.
How was friends, family, everyone, they think you're going crazy at the time with juice, or were they all supportive and oh, I love this?
Well, I was a little embarrassed that I was cleaning people's assholes. And a lot of people do not like to talk about that. So even Sean and I were with friends. We were going to some non-for-profit situation, and I had donated like a colon hydrotherapy session. Like people really wanted that. And so you should know my drinking name is Betty. And so a lot of people do call me Betty. And so Sean and I and our friends were walking through this, and I was like, oh my God, there's my stuff for the colon hydrotherapy. And they're like, hey, that looks like you, Betty. And they, wait a minute, Betty, that is you. What are you doing? And then I was like, oh my gosh. So then I had to explain about the colon hydrotherapy. And so I wasn't even doing juice yet. But so then I finally brought the juice in. And so I would give people, samples all the time. But my girlfriend, her mother had breast cancer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got to do these juices, and you've got to do colon hydrotherapy, and you've got to do this, you've got to do that, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, cool. And I made her everything in my house, and that was great. But you know what? Sometimes it's challenging. I was in the exact same thing. I want to do exactly what my doctor said. And by the way, this is Orange Heaven. This is carrot, orange, apple, and lemon. So she drank the juices, and she's like, yep, I'm going to tell my mom about it. I'm like, okay, great. And she's like, my mom is just going to do chemo and radiation. I'm like, yep, great. I understand. And so then 6 months later, I see my girlfriend, and I'm like, oh, how's your mom? She's like, oh, fine. And I'm like, okay, great. And I go off to work, and then she calls me 5 minutes later, and this gal's an accountant. So she's a kind of a steady personality, and she's bawling. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she goes, my mom just called. All the tumors are back. They're going to send her to hospice. And then she says, can I get those juices?
Wow.
And I'm like, what? What? And I am like, oh my God, going to hospice. And then, so I called one of my gurus in Chicago, and I said, hey, when is it too late? And he said, it's not the body, it's the spirit. He said, give her the juices. So I made everything. I taught her how to do it. She took it home. Her parents started doing all of it. Her brother was doing it. She was doing it. Her brother-in-law, this girl. I mean, they were all doing it. And her mother started to get and feel better. And they couldn't believe it. And the thing is, when you know this, your body can heal from anything. And to see it happen over and over and over again, I'm just a big believer in that. And once you have chemo and radiation, though, radiation's tough on the body. So usually what happens is it comes back, and then it's the end. And so that her mom lived another almost 2 years, and it came back, and she was gone within 2 weeks. And Sean, my husband, happened to be up in Chicago for business, and he stopped by the funeral and to say hello to our friends and all that. And our friend was introducing him to the new widow, and he said, this is Sean Smith, Beth's husband. She said, oh! And he shook his hand and hugged him and said, hey, oh my gosh, we had the best 2 years. They were married 56 years.
Wow. And
they got to see him get a big award. They had all the grandkids over making cookies. They did this, they did this, they did this. And so my theory is, we are all going to die. But how are we living? Are we living this connected life? And so what we put into our body, I believe, has a great effect on that. And so there is no perfect diet. There's, if there was, we'd all be on it, but that's not the way it works. We have to find out what's perfect for us and live that. And it's about connectivity, and it's about joy. So even though we have Simplicity cold pressed juices, we've got cold pressed cocktails, we've got things to help you poop, we've got tongue scrapers, we've got this, that. It's all about joy. Are you living with joy? Can we just take a load off and give a smile, or, have that genuine connection? And even though you might not know someone right at the moment, like someone's opening the door for you, and you guys look into each other's eyes, you have that connection for the moment. And it's about joy. It's about having fun.
Amen.
Yeah.
How do we share that message with the rest of the world?
I would say, I try to say, because people will say, "Oh, it's expensive. It's this. It's that." And,
or I don't have time, or it won't work for me, or that's
simplicity is expensive. This is too expensive. This is hard. Da-da. You know what? It starts with being very simple. Purified water. Oh my gosh! If people just drank water, and go from one little change to another little change, and we all get, and myself included, in ruts of going up and down, and that's okay, because we have to be kind to ourselves. We have to be kind to ourselves and love ourselves, and the big part of it is forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves. We beat ourselves up so much about such small things, medium things, big things. And you know what? At the end of the day, everyone probably a pretty good person. And love ourselves, forgive ourselves, and drink purified water, and just have a laugh. Have a laugh. And a huge learning lesson for me is, we were doing our first photo shoot for the juices, and I loved this one t-shirt I had. It's a black t-shirt with fruit on it, and I thought it was so awesome, and it said keep it fresh, and so like the tomato had these glasses on it and all this. I thought it was so awesome, and so we made it into these postcards, and a girl that I work with, Kara, she came in, she's like, "Oh my God, do they make you wear that sweater? That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen." And I was like, "Oh." But then I took a Sharpie marker out, and I put a big mustache on my face and put two little horns on top. And from that moment on, I felt I could share my story. I felt I could say, you know what? I clean assholes for a living. And we made it funny and accessible. And so when I give talks, a lot of people do not want to talk about poop. And so we try and just make it funny and try and make it okay, because everyone poops. But what I find out from those talks is people will come to me privately after, or, all kinds of different things, that they will get a hold of me because they're embarrassed. They're ashamed. You know what? We're all people. No one is perfect. There's no shame, and there's no shame sharing how you're feeling, because someone else feels the same. And let's have a laugh about it, and joy, and help, and forgive, and assist.
Beth, have you always been this way? Just like so open and like carefree about stuff? Like, was that something like your parents were very open and talked about a lot of stuff?
No. I mean, my parents, I'm Irish Catholic Irish, and more of both of those. So I had a great deal of Irish Catholic guilt, and, I wanted to be a great daughter. I wanted to be a great friend. I want to be a great wife. What do those things look like to me? Well, to be a great wife, I had to, cook a great meal. I had to do this. I had to do that. And I did it to myself. I had these perceptions, not Sean, me. And so I kind of put myself in this little prison of perfection. When I was at, some of the places that I've worked at, Parade or Rosie O'Donnell, I try to be perfect, and it's not attainable. And so I found with having that picture of the fruit and putting a big mustache on myself, I could laugh at myself. And when I laughed at myself, people laughed with me and not at me. And it really took down people's walls, because they could relate, or it made them feel comfortable around certain topics. And, two, I can only speak for myself. I'm sure I was a judgmental bitch, and people would say that. But you know what? Every single person has a purpose. Every person has joy. Every person has something to give. I try to say, let's find that joy.
What does that word mean to you, joy? You use it a lot. I see it everywhere here. And you've probably got one of the most vulnerable, like about us sections on a website. I think you lay it all out there, which is, I really appreciate that you do that. But that word joy seems very important to you. So I know that there's like a Webster's definition of what that word means. But like, what does it mean to you? Like, why is that so important?
It's so important because, like I said, we can all die tomorrow. How are we living? If I tried to have a diet or a job or whatever it is in line with what my perception of perfection was, that would be really sad and hard. But joy is sharing and connecting and forgiving and loving. And I was just at this retreat this weekend where they did this meditation, and you're supposed to have a person across from yourself, and you're supposed to think about what they did to you and cut the cord and do all these things. And I think most people, besides, we all have like that one person or that other person, or most of us have ourselves across that table. We don't like, I didn't do this as a sophomore in high school, or in college I did this, or this time I did this. We don't forgive ourselves. And if we forgive ourselves and love ourselves, it just becomes a more loving world. And it's self-acceptance. And it's, what did God or spirit or universe want for you and of you? And I had the message very, very early on that I was to have these special children. And then once I had them, I thought, what's my next mission? What is it? What is it? What is it? And so I try to be patient, but that's not really my personality. But then I got the message, and it was simply to serve others, And that's it. And so that's what I try and do. Some people may say I do. Some people say I don't. I don't know, but that's what I try.
Can I play devil's advocate really quick?
Please.
What do you say to people? I guess this isn't necessarily devil's advocate, but and I'm sure this has happened to you, you've been countered maybe by someone who says, well, we're all going to die, which you said you agree with. So why not just enjoy all the bad things while I'm alive? And, continue to do that, because I think in my industry with fitness, and we run into that often, right? Where people were just like, oh well, like I want to enjoy everything while I can while I'm here, and I'm not worried about being healthy.
Oh yeah, okay. Hey, cool. How is that working for you? Do you feel good? Do you feel connected? Is everything in your life feel connected? And do you feel that love and that energy? And are you waking up every day with that energy, with that sunshine? Yeah. And if people are eating that shit, you don't feel good. And people know. And the truth is too, there's 10% of people that you say you've got cancer, you've got this, or you've got this. I knew it. And they go home and they go die. And you know what? Okay. It's not my job to change someone's mind. You can't bring a horse to water. Is that how the phrase goes?
I think so, right?
Think so?
You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Okay,
Jared's the absolute wrong person to ask about phrases.
I'm the worst.
So, it's not my job to change anyone's mind. What I try and do is encourage what they're looking for. So what are you looking for? Mm-hmm. Because we'll have so many women that will come in here and they'll want to be in a string bikini for spring break. And then I'll say, would you want this spring bikini or would you want more energy? Oh, I'll take energy. And what are you looking for? And we work with drug addicts, alcoholics, foodaholics, everything. And I said, what are you looking for? What do you want? And I am not going to put rules on you. I won't, because it's not up to me. It's not about my goals for you. It's not about my intentions for you. It's about your goals, your intention for your life, and what is it for you. And so I'm not going to tell someone anything. You're now in the hot seat. What do you want? And when they dig deep, and I'll ask a lot of questions to get deep, like I see you guys are. What is it for you?
Yeah.
And so there was a guy who I loved. We would come in 6 o'clock every Monday morning. And so this is the fat burner. This is grapefruit, apple, lemon. And so there's no sugar added. There's no artificial ingredients. It is just grapefruit, apple, lemon. So we would go into this guy's house every Monday morning, 6 a.m. And I would say, you can have everything that is good quality. And I'm not going to say no to you, because what was important for him is that I didn't put rules on him. And I said, but it has to be of good quality. And so we would take pictures, woohoo, every week. And then I saw that, wait a minute. It was Coffee Mate. I don't know if you guys are interviewing Coffee Mate soon, but it was Coffee Mate. And he goes, well, you said I just have 2 tablespoons. I just have 2 tablespoons. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's look at the ingredients. And I mean, it could be roadkill. It could be plastic. It could be knives. It was
Knives.
It was horrible. And then he said, well, see, it's only 2 tablespoons. And I said, well, that's cool. You keep drinking that if you want, but just do me a favor. When you add your 2 tablespoons of Coffee Mate, add 2 tablespoons of cyanide. I mean, if you want to kill yourself slowly, go ahead. Just know you're doing it, and you don't have to. And so we provided 4 different milks, creamers, coconut milk, hazelnut milk, or whatever, for him to try as an alternative. And he ended up loving one, and there you go. So it's taking that ingredient that you use every day that's killing you softly, that replace it with something else that has you on a better road. And one turn, one change of a habit can make all the difference.
Well, we just lost our Coffee Mate sponsorship. So thank you.
Sorry.
And we'll keep asking questions, but we do have, I want to give an opportunity for our sponsors. We did bring a couple things here from them. So this one is a barrel-aged fruited sour ale called Guava.
Ooh,
so I'm just going to pour a little bit of this in there. Yeah.
That sounds really good. So
as I'm opening this up and pouring it, talk about why your customers come to you. If you play around on your website, you can see there's like a couple day cleanse. Obviously you said if you want to feel energy versus the bikini. So what are the benefits, or what are the things outside of the delicious taste, of these juices that people come to you for?
Well, I always say, that looks amazing.
It smells really good too.
Because I had my health issues, I always say we like to make our juices like we're bartenders, because we want to make them light, craveable, so that you come back for more. So you've got those nutrients, you've got everything you need, but you come back for the taste. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You come back for the taste. And every body is different. And so this smells good. Cheers. Cheers. Guava cheers.
My gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Guava
my gosh. This tastes just like guava. It prickly, you know what I mean?
That is good.
Wow.
That is so good. That is delicious. So I say every body is different. All we want to do is fill your body with nutrients. And when you fill your body with nutrients, it lets go of what doesn't serve you. Now, we might not know what that is. Could be rash, could be pounds, could be cancer, could be all kinds of things. But when you give your body what it wants, it lets go of what doesn't serve you. So we had a CEO here in town, and they would go in the morning, sit at their chair, and they would be at that chair from 6:30 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. And they did not get up at all. And they work on Pepsi and Gatorade. And so she would drink that all day. And so her kids wanted something better for her. So she came and, thank you.
Yeah.
Or she had me at her office, and the kids were telling her what she needs, what she wants, and looking at me, what she needs, what she wants. And Cheers.
Sorry, I always forget to cheers.
Yeah,
I'm just always excited to drink.
That's so good.
Yeah, this is
so good.
Pedal to the Kettle.
That's so good.
Tart hibiscus.
It's so good. So I was looking at her as her two kids, their adult children, were arguing. And I said, you know what? Excuse me. Could you two, pointing to the kids, could you do me a favor? And they're like, yes. What do we need? What do we need for her? And I said, okay, you need to get the fuck up and leave. And we all had a good laugh. And then they left. And she looked at me and she goes, and I don't know if I want you to tell me what to do either. I said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. What do you want? And so she told me, and I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. And so we started our program, and she went along week after week doing the program. She was doing really well, and she was doing really well drinking all of it. And then 4 or 5 weeks go by. No, she should be losing some pounds. And she called me, and she said, you know, what happened today? I peed my pants. I'm like, oh.
Been there.
Oh. And she said, and then the next day I peed my pants. And I'm like, oh, dear God. And here I am then looking on the internet, peed her pants. And I said, have you talked to your doctor? She's like, well, I'm going to wait one more time. And then if I do, I will call him. And I said, okay. And I'm like, oh my God, holy shit. And so I said, all I can think of intuitively is you've been a camel for so long and your body has taken this in for so long. You give the body what it needs. It lets go of what doesn't serve you. And from that day on, thank God she didn't pee anymore. But the pounds were dropping off her, and she felt really, really good. And so I see it time and time again. And so everyone has a different goal, maybe coming in, maybe resetting their palate, maybe losing a pound or two, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, who knows? Can you talk about that's a bad word to bring up when we're drinking alcohol. Everyone has a different goal. But every person is different. I mean, it may be they sleep better at night. It may be their acne clears up. It may be they, we have this one athlete that does all these Ironmans and he's really tall. And I thought, geez, he can't lose a pound. He lost 6 pounds. I'm like, geez, and so it really depends. It really depends. And we've seen it all.
Do you do like one-on-one consultations with people then through this process? Like, I'm just curious because it sounds like you guys help people on an individual basis. And it sounds like we do a very similar process at the gym where when people come in, one of the very first things we do is have a free consult to learn about that person, to learn about their goals. And then we can kind of curate, prescribe a process, a product, a fitness, program for them. And it sounds like something very similar for you guys. Is that correct?
I did that a lot when we had the colon hydrotherapy and the juicing. And I never do anything for free. And I'll tell you, truth, because we've had, and I love doing classes. And the classes are $75. And you will get my 90 minutes. I call it Health and Hilarity.
And you still do this?
We do. Okay. 90 minutes, health and hilarity. And so I talk about poop. Most people don't know I'm going to talk about poop, but I do. And then with that, they get a 1-day cleanse. And so they get to sample all the juices. They get to sample the food because we do raw food and all of our cleanses have food in them. I should get some food for you. And, it's delicious. And you'd never know that it was raw food. And so when I started in this raw field, my dad is a Marine, and I said, Dad, oh my gosh, you're going to love this raw food. It's going to make you so healthy. It's going to be amazing. And he was like, okay, great. And so I make him this big meal, and he goes, ugh. And then he goes to my mom, Marge, get me some food. I'm like, oh, God. So that did not go well. But 2 weeks later, I made him pretty much the same meal. Now, I didn't say anything about it. I go, oh, here, Dad. Okay. No, this is much better. I'm like, yeah, right. Got ya. Because now I just don't say anything. I don't have to say it's raw. I don't have to say it's vegan. I don't have to say it's this or that. Da, da, da. It just tastes good.
Yep.
You know, that's all. And that's it. And if people like the taste of it, they're halfway there.
What's the definition of raw food?
Raw food is exactly that. Raw. It is picked, or like an apple falls from a tree, that is raw.
Yep.
Live food is, which I love, is say you've got nuts and you sprout them overnight. You put them in a Vitamix. Vitamix is the only mixer powerful enough to blend this, to cut it so that the enzymes comes out. So enzymes is like babies to mothers with breast milk. And so we were not feeding you breast milk, but it is alive. So we have all enzymes in our gut. And so our guts are like a bank vault. We're either putting in a deposit or taking out. And so when you are taking in enzymes, that is so unbelievably good, because usually we are taking out. And so when you're adding in raw food, something like that, it's neutral to good. And so we want your blood full of oxygen, and we want your body and your digestive system resting, so that raw food, your body doesn't have to work very hard to digest it because it's already in its natural state. Can I get you both a little sample?
Sure. Yeah.
I would love for you to try pink.
Yeah.
So we don't get too far down. So this is pink. This is a hydration drink. So this is coconut water, coconut oil, strawberries, a little bit of vanilla.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, I
That's
wasn't
really
expecting
good.
that. It's got like a summertime. I don't even know.
Well, that started because we had these NBA players that came to us, and their trainers wanted them to have a lot of coconut water.
Okay.
But in my opinion, coconut water kind of tastes like dirty sock. And so I literally was tired, and I was just mixing up some stuff in the kitchen. And once I tasted it, I was like, oh, voila.
I just realized what it tastes like.
What?
It tastes like a healthy version of the 7-Eleven slushies, like a certain flavor, in a good way.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's what I'm recalling there.
Yeah. So this is coconut water, purified water, lemon, lime, coconut oil, a little bit of vanilla stevia extract.
And then you just gave this is
this is the pink with vodka.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You want to try that one?
All right. Pink with vodka.
Which, can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love to.
So the cocktail side of things.
Yes.
How did that start? And B, where are you currently at with that?
Thank you for asking.
Hey guys, it's Fabian. Sorry to interrupt this awesome episode of the Drink Culture Podcast, but just wanted to remind you of a few things to really help us grow our show in 2020. If you go right now to the link in our bio on Instagram, you can hit 3 buttons that will really help us out this year. 1, rate and review us. If you haven't rated or reviewed this show, please go do that right now, and then you can come back to the episode. But we really appreciate those, and those go a long way. 2, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, what are you waiting for? Go do it right now. We send those on Wednesdays and Fridays. They're short and sweet and full of awesome information. So if you're not signed up, please go do that now. And if you already are, encourage a friend to go do that as well. And last, if you really want to help us continue to grow and you want to show support for the Drink Culture Podcast, maybe you might consider donating to our Patreon page. So go check us out on Patreon, poke around, see if that's something that you might be interested in, but that would really go a long way. So we'll let you get back into this episode, but just wanted to thank you, say hello, and remind you of those few things that can all be found in the bio on our Instagram page. Thanks.
So the cocktail side of things.
Yes.
How did that start? And B, where are you currently at with that?
Thank you for asking. So it started because one of the things, like I was telling you that story about my dad, I'm sorry. I forgot the clear. One of the things with my dad that I learned was don't shove something down someone's throat. And in the cleansing business, in the juice business, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And so what I learned with all the cleanses is that people are going to have their coffee and people are going to have their cocktail, and not necessarily in that order. And so I had a gal that, I had listened to 3 different occasions, 45 minutes each, that she had all these health issues and concerns and all this kind of stuff. And it was valid. And she was finally going to do the cleanse. And I'm like, great. And then she called and she says, you know what? I can't because, tomorrow night I'm going to go out to dinner. And I was like, fuck that shit. And I'm like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to get your cleanse. You're going to start your cleanse. You're going to go out to dinner tomorrow. You have a salad, have chicken, whatever cocktail you want. That's fine. Oh, thank you so much. But then the next day, you're going to just resume and get back on your cleanse and start again. So this is a lifestyle. It's not just all or nothing. Mm-hmm. So go out, have your cocktail. And so for me, I love whiskey and bourbon. And so my favorite beverage is bourbon or whiskey. I said I may own a cold pressed juice company, but my favorite beverage is whiskey. And so that is true. And so then, of course, I taste the fresh air, and of course it goes well with Maker's Mark. So Maker's Mark, we are doing the cocktails for Rev this year. Are you guys going to Rev?
I don't.
Yes.
He is.
You are? Are you?
I don't know yet.
I think we're actually going to be involved.
Okay, I wasn't sure. That's
okay. Good, because if you're not, you're coming with me.
Okay,
wonderful.
Perfect.
So yeah.
So do we have to pass out samples?
Come on with it. Yes, you do. I will put you to work, and I'm going to train you. No, just kidding. Yeah. Please come with us. So we are doing cold pressed cocktails at the Rev this year, and so we have the Fresh Air Apple Lemon and Maker's Mark. We are going to have the pink with effin' vodka. And then we are going to have our fat burner with tequila. And I'm not sure which tequila yet, but it will be a smash. And so we've been doing that for years at Rev, and it's so much fun. Here are the bottles. So it says our Simplicity cold pressed
That's awesome.
Juice. And it then has the Rev because it's such a great... Have you guys been before?
Mm-hmm. I was there last year. Okay. So much fun.
Oh my gosh, it's such a blast. And so it's May 2nd at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it goes for a great cause for IU Health Foundation. And so we are doing the cold pressed cocktails, and we are super, super excited. And so our Fresh Air will be with Maker's Mark, tequila will be with Fat Burner, and the effin' vodka will be with Pink. And so those are our cocktails that we are going to be rolling out in retail. Probably the Market District will be our first place. Probably, maybe, hopefully, Public Greens. And so those will be available for retail.
And so these are partnerships that you guys established with them, like with Maker's Mark and Sauza Tequila and Effin' Vodka. Oh,
yes.
That's so cool.
We do that for special occasions for the Rev. For our cocktails that go on retail, we're not sure of our partner yet.
Oh, gotcha.
It might be private label.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Yeah.
And with Rev, is that something did you go and build those relationships yourself with Maker's Mark? And it looks like you have... is it Sauza
Tequila?
I'm saying that right.
Sure. You know what? It started with, we were doing all the cocktails for the Colts VIP tailgaters with Bullseye. So Bullseye's sponsor was Maker's Mark. Okay. And so we started making all the cocktails for the Colts VIP tailgaters. And so we went to the Super Bowl with them. It was so incredible.
That's awesome.
Have you guys done that yet? Have you guys
been to the Super Bowl?
No.
Have you been to a Colts VIP tailgater?
No, we would love to go with you.
Okay, you will. You will. First Colts game.
What else do you do in the city? Yeah. We'll jump along.
You know what? No, we love it. So you guys don't have kids yet, so we also do the Children's Museum.
I've got a 9.5-month-old daughter.
Oh, so great. What's her name?
Ismay.
Yep. Congratulations. That's so awesome. Well, you'll have to go to the Children's Museum spooky VIP party. It's awesome.
Ooh, silent disco, right?
What's that?
Did they do a silent disco there?
I think
With,
they
like, the
do.
headphones?
They do for sure at the Rev. I don't know about the Children's Museum, but the Children's Museum party is a blast. Okay, so there's so many fun things to do.
Oh,
so you have to
yes.
go to Rev.
Absolutely.
So that is how we started the cocktails and just drinking on our own. It's about moderation.
Absolutely.
And so I always love my fresh air and Maker's Mark.
Yeah, it's like drinking White Claw, right? Like,
Yeah, it could be.
you're getting hydrated.
Well, I mean,
and-
this is a huge piece of the alcohol industry right now is making,
drinking healthy.
yeah.
It like pains you to even say that.
A little bit, yes, because exactly, it's painful. But
Well, it's to me, I always say you're getting healthy and happy in one sip.
there you go.
And so I know a guy that literally switched from whiskey to vodka and lost 30 pounds. And that was good for him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no perfection, and a lot of people won't give up the cocktail. So if they're not going to give up the cocktail, let's put something healthy in as well. And so it does a great job of hydration while you're dehydrating. And
Yeah, instead of smashing a bunch of Jack and Cokes and everything else.
And I like
Yeah.
the way you put that. You're getting healthy and happy. Yeah,
All in one
that's a
sip.
good way to
All
put
in
that.
one sip.
So
All
let's.
in sip.
We're gonna hop into some rapid fire.
Yeah.
Rapid fire is brought to you by our drink sponsor. So I want you to taste that one and then pour yourself a little bit of all three of them. We're gonna talk through these real quick, but just want to give a shout out to our friends over at Upland.
Love Upland.
We were involved with their Sour Wild Funk Fest last year. We interviewed some of the brewers there, and that's coming up again April 4th, 2020 at the Mavericks Arts and Events Center. We had such a good time there and can't wait to do it again. We will be there again playing games with the brewers. We came up with this game called Beer or Not Beer, where we kind of racked our brains on like making up weird beer names and finding really like weird beer names and had them guess which one was actually real. So we had the guava. We had Pedal to the Kettle. So guava is part of their Heritage Series barrel aged fruited sour ale. This beer is absolutely delicious. It's their basis beer, and it's a blend of 6 to 24 month old beer, and then just a ton of this guava fruit. Then we had Pedal to the Kettle. Pedal to the Kettle is a tart beer. It's ale with rose, hibiscus, and strawberry. Kind of one of their iconic beers in a can. And then this last one that I poured for everybody is called Darken. So it's their barrel aged sour brown ale. And honestly, I think this is my favorite one. So there's just something like when I think of a sour beer, like this is exactly what comes to mind. Do you have a favorite from these three?
I like Pedal to the Kettle.
What do you
love
like
that
about
one.
it?
I like the taste. I feel like it's really light. The color is light, and it just goes down really easily, and it's like perky and delicious. And I love the picture on it, and I think it's great. And I think that also mixes well with other things. I like to mix it all up.
Jared, which one did you like?
Guava.
Yeah. What did you like about it?
It reminded me of like the crispness of a champagne, like mimosa,
Yeah.
but yet not the same like kick to it. I mean, obviously guava was very pungent in there, so
Yeah.
huge fan.
So what's interesting about the guava is it tasted fuzzy in like the best way possible. You know, when you think of like a fruit and there's like a prickly pear or guava or like kiwi obviously looks fuzzy, but that tastes fuzzy in like the most delicious way possible, if that makes sense.
This tastes happy.
Yeah. But
tastes-
I think this Darken is definitely my favorite. Like I'm a big fan of sour brown ales. And that's just got like this little extra thing to it. It's almost like a little bit heavier, like that guava and the Pedal to the Kettle are both good, but this one's my fave. So again, shout out to our friends over at Upland. We love having them as a sponsor. Over 50 breweries. You're going to be able to sample over 150 sour beers. Go get your tickets April 4th, 2020 at Mavericks Sour Wild Funk Fest by Upland Brewing Company. Shout out to those guys. And what are we tasting here?
Yeah,
So-
talk to me a little bit about untuna in quotes?
Untuna. So there has the untuna, which is onion and pickle. And then there's the untuna with grape and celery. And so these are two of the meals that we make for the cleanses. Like I have said before, I'm a selfish bitch, and I could go half a day in a juice cleanse and I want to stab someone with a fork. And so I would like something to eat, and that keeps you going on the cleanse longer. These are raw almonds with a vegan mayo that we make, but yet it's light. It's good for a meal on the go. You feel that crunching. You get to chew.
So good.
It mentally gets us through, and it's delicious. And so one of these per a day, and then you get a Betty bar. So a Betty bar is like, I always say, crack cocaine with nutrition, with raw chocolate on top. And so we do a raw handcrafted chocolate on top. And this is on the cleanse, because you are getting that guilty satisfaction that we love, and you're getting to chew, and you kind of feel naughty. At the same time, you're eating something really great. But that is a part of the cleanse processes. And the eating process is, in our day and age, I don't really like the terms, I'm off the wagon, I cheated, I'm bad. That's just...
It's a yo-yo diet. Like you're just...
Yeah.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Yeah. And two, it's just not good for you. If you want to,
So what's in that Betty bar?
Crack cocaine. No. Let's see.
Coconut oil. I can taste it.
Yep. Coconut oil, organic oatmeal. We have sunflower seeds, organic almonds. We have
so good.
An organic almond butter that we make ourselves. Cranberries, organic raw coconut butter, raw agave, cacao, maple syrup, raw honey, a vanilla protein powder, pea protein, whole flaxseed, and the list goes on.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, but simple enough that your body knows how to digest it.
I love it. Yeah. So we said we were going to get into rapid fire. So my first question.
I'm ready.
What is a juice that didn't work out?
Oh, I will tell you, one of my favorites is called the Wheat Teeny. The Wheat Teeny.
Wait, that just sounds like it wasn't going to work.
It was so good. If I made it for you, you'd love it. But the color is like motor oil. I mean, it was so darky, blacky, green. Mm-hmm. You're like, ugh. And I would love to sample that one, because people would stick up their nose and I'm like, oh no, you come here. And they would taste it. They would love it. And little kids would love the Wheat Teeny. So that one was not big on sales until we sampled it, and then it would be sold out, but then we'd fill it up again and they'd sit there until we had sampling. So the Wheat Teeny, I love the Wheat Teeny.
Wheat Teeny.
I also love this Green Heaven, which was the original celery, cucumber, and pineapple. That's it. I love that one.
You talked about different missions throughout life and how one kind of led to another. What's your next mission?
I don't know, because I think it's my mission right now to serve others. But what I would love to do is continue to do this work, but get to a bigger stage to tell more people you're okay exactly where you're at. You're okay. You're great. You're loved. Forgive yourself. You're awesome. Just like you are. Even though if you are freaking out that you're 10 pounds or 100 pounds overweight, or you've got all these pressures of the world, you know what? You're cool just as you are. Let's just start. Yeah. Let's just start.
I told Fabian that earlier today. You're cool just as you are.
Fabian.
I am cool.
Yeah. But it is really true. And we're not all in the right place in the right time to hear that. Yeah. But I want to keep saying it until I find all the people that are at the right place at the right time, and to just be joyful, forgive yourself. And I think that leads to people just being kinder and being more loving and having a more connected life. Because we all, I think, have a mission here. And I think it would help people to reach their mission. Because when we're all clogged up with caffeine or processed foods and things that just really stop up our entire system, it blocks our head, it blocks our heart. And I go down South Meridian or North Meridian, and there's 2-3 lanes of traffic, and the McDonald's is packed and the Starbucks is packed and da. And I think, how am I ever going to make an even tiny little ripple? And I don't know, sometimes it seems impossible, but every day I get up and try and do it again.
You're doing it.
You're very nice. You're very nice. Thank you.
So I think everybody suffers not the right word. I think everybody indulges in like a guilty pleasure.
Sure.
One of mine is like after a long, hard day, I just like to veg out in front of the TV and just watch the shittiest shows imaginable. So is there a show that you binge that you would consider a guilty pleasure?
Absolutely. Is there a show I would not binge? I love Survivor.
Really? Like, will you go back and watch old episodes?
I will. Because one, it's something that I can have on that I don't have to like think about or get into. And two, I find it truly very much like real life. Like, who are you going to pair yourself with? Who are you going to partner with? Who are your friends? Who's out for themselves? Who, and we all have different periods in life where we're not our best selves, myself completely included. But like Survivor, who can I count on? Who has a similar mindset? How can I help someone get ahead, and as well as continue our mission to get ahead? And so I do love Survivor.
Okay, that's not a bad answer.
Yeah.
We'll ask two more, Jared.
What are you currently obsessed with? Can be anything.
My husband. I have to say, I am. He's so cute. He's so...
Hold on, I'm Googling him.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
He's so cute. He's so cute. We've been together, I think, like 35 years.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Well, plus I'm only like 39. So yeah, I mean, he's just so cute. And it's, so we've been married 20 years, but it's the little things.
Right.
It's the little like, oh my gosh, he did the laundry, or he never complains about doing the dishes when I've had a hard day, or last night when I was coming home after driving 12 hours, what can I have ready for you? Oof. And he's just nice. He's just nice. And even though, business can be challenging, I always say we're learning or teaching. We're learning or teaching. Right now, am I learning or am I teaching? I think I'm learned a lot today, more than I wanted to know. And sometimes that's painful. But then you have to keep overcoming. You have to keep knowing and believing that you have a mission and continue to seek it. And I love having all kinds of modalities of all kinds of wonderful people in Indianapolis that we're just growing, and we can partner with so many different like yoga studios, or just pop in, or Pastry Galleria, or the Pacers, the Colts, the this, the that. And, it's just nice. It's nice, and it's appreciated that, people appreciate the juice from time to time. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the mission, because when I walked into that, the final place I went to that they did the colon hydrotherapy and the juice, and I was so red hot pissed for being there. And the doctor looked at me and he said, "Oh, this is the best thing that ever happened to you." And I was like, "Fuck you." I mean, I was literally, "Oh, you have no idea." What? Fuck you. Fuck you. You have no idea of my pain, my suffering, my sorrow, the money I've spent, the surgeries, the inconveniencing people for me to have my surgery, or this or that. And, you know, I was so consumed with myself and so consumed with what I was going through that I wonder if I look back, if I could open my eyes to what other people were going through and to put more of my energy towards that. But we all go through these missions for a reason. And I came out of that mission and I didn't know I was pregnant yet. But I felt this unbelievable gratitude, and I was grateful for the journey because he said, this is nothing. You know, this is the best thing that ever happened to you. And I was like, fuck off. And oh my God, 45 days later, I was like, oh, he was so right. He's so right. We learn these hard lessons for a reason. And hopefully that's to share with others, to teach others, to grow with others. And, you know, so we always have a teacher. We always have someone we're teaching. And so hopefully we can just keep passing it on.
Yeah. Who would you recommend as a future guest for our show?
Carol Howard from The Rev. She's fun and funny. Her laugh is ridiculous. And
ridiculous good? Or
can you do an impression of it?
I wouldn't do it justice. But no, I mean, she's great. And Rev pulls together the best of Indy. And it's just such an amazing event for everyone involved. And I just wish everyone could be treated to a night of Rev because it's special.
It is fun. If you run the race, it's a long day. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Well, let me give you a couple pinks for the race.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
If Tony Kanaan can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Do you want to sponsor me for my race? I'll wear a Simplicity shirt.
Sure. Absolutely.
This has been awesome, Beth. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
You guys are the best. You're amazing.
Thank you.
And tell me, in doing this, because I know you guys got started kind of on the fly, but what has it given you? What's your gift so far?
Like, it's given me a sense of purpose in that we're giving back to the community. And I feel like that was something that was missing for me.
Relationships. Something that I'm an introvert naturally, which is why I let Fabian take the lead on the mic and ask pointed questions, but building relationships with people all across Indianapolis. And I always say the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon in Indianapolis is about 1.5 degrees here in the city. And people say yes to a lot versus other cities where they'd probably just say no and blow you off. So that's been amazing.
Indy's a great city.
Yeah.
It really is. Well, I thank you both very much for coming.
Thank you for your time.
You're amazing.
Yeah. Where can people find out more?
SimplicityJuice.com.
Boom.
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
As we like to say, drink culture, know your city. We're out. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far, please don't shut it off just yet. We have one quick ask of you. If you enjoy these episodes that we put out for you on a weekly basis, please consider rating us, writing us a review, subscribing to our show, and sharing this with friends. The best thing that we can ever get from you guys is just feedback and letting us know that you enjoy it. And the best way to do that is just to share our podcast. So if you haven't taken the time to leave a review or just rate us on iTunes, that would go a long way. So if you can, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to see you guys share, repost, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.